Hello, Ladybug Lovies. Yesterday was Flip Through Friday, and I forgot about it until I just finished my laundry a few minutes ago, and I figured I'd better get around to it. So, right now I'm going to take you down to my lap and show you what I have for my Flip Through Friday. Please excuse the locale, but my honey's still not feeling real well, so he's in my studio, which also acts as our bedroom, and he's resting. So hold on to your seats just in case you get dizzy. I don't want you to slide out of your chair. All right, let's have a look at what we're going to see for our Flip Through Friday this week. And here we go. All right, this week we're going to look at the Ultimate Crochet Bible, a complete reference with step-by-step techniques. It's a big book, so I might have a hard time getting it all in to the camera. But it's a book that I've had for a while. I got it used, but it's still in really good condition. And I've marked a few things that my daughter and I have looked at. And then there's a few other things that I've looked at with or without her. Isn't that beautiful? I figure this is such a good book that even when I'm done, I can always cut the pictures out if I don't pass it on to somebody else. There's some what do you call that? Origami? I can't even remember how you say it. Making little stuffies out of crochet. Okay. Origami? I can't think how they say it. But you know what I'm talking about. There's my favorite stuff, doilies. I love doilies. Okay. And here's some more cool stuff. You can see the person that had this before me rarely looked at it. And I've looked at it a few times. Look at the embellishments. Aren't they beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful on top of a book? And there's making a little case to carry your stuff in. I love these wooden and bamboo crochet hooks. I'd love to get some more of those. Most of mine have broken or disappeared over the years. And here's information on how you choose your hooks. The nice thing about the bamboo or wooden crochet hooks is in the summer when it gets so hot, or in the winter when it's cold, they don't absorb the heat or the cold. They stay kind of neutral, so it's easier to work with them. That's what I like about them anyways. And I have a couple of these. They're great. They have the little pieces in them. You can put them on a chain or whatever, wear them on your neck. They're very decorative. And they have the little notches in them that you can use to cut your threads or your yarn. And you can take them to the airport. You can take them in the courthouse. Nobody ever gives you a hard time because the knives aren't big enough to do any harm to anybody, and I don't really think they know what they are anyways. And that's another one of those looks at the little container to carry your hooks in. And then this is a little bit about the different types of yarns and, you know, what they're made of and what they're used for, different things about it. And as you can see, my daughter and I have marked some of the pages with different things that we're interested in. And here's a little bit about, you know, measuring and figuring out the traditional threads and things that you use them for. And you can see doing the same stitch but using different threads how it's going to come out. Let's see if we put this down some, if it won't hold open a little bit better for us. There, that looks a little bit better. Okay. And here's little things on symbols and washing and different things about the yarn. I obviously can't read you the whole thing because, as you can see, this is a mighty thick book. But I mean, it has so much great information in it. I highly recommend you go out and look for these old books because they really help with a lot of things. This gives a lot on the abbreviations, and I do believe this is all the American symbols and abbreviations. I'm not sure if it covers anything for the European ones, but I basically use the American. I use some of the other ones too, but I find that once I learn the different things, I tend to go off on my own little tangents on them anyways. I learn how to do this stuff and then I switch and do it my own way. And this is talking about the different ways to hold it, to hold your needle when you crochet. And I can't tell you which way I hold mine because I don't really hold mine either or. I hold mine just a little bit different than the way that they do it. And there's some more. And they show you some of the different ways to do that people do their chain stitching. And there's a little bit more about the stitches and some more about it. Okay. And then moving forward, here it shows a little bit more about stitches. Oh, this is such a big book. And it shows a little bit about making things in a circle, which I find making things in a circle is much easier than doing it straight. Right now, as a matter of fact, I finished a blanket and now I'm using the leftover yarn and working in a circle because I'm going to be making a bowl. I made my son-in-law a blanket and now I'm going to be making a bowl for his cats. Okay. They don't have children, so him and Tori will get a bowl for their cats. Today's Tori and Dakota's anniversary. I'm so excited for them. Okay. And then I believe this is where it still talking about working in a spiral. And here's working in blocks. And here's working in other shapes. And there's working in a rectangle. Let's change hands again. Okay. And here's cross stitches. Those cross stitches are pretty neat. I haven't done any of those in a long time. It's something I'd like to get back to. I'm not as good with the stitches as our Aunt Beck is. Look at these cross stitches. Aren't those beautiful? Oh, those are mesh stitches. Let's see. Some of them are so similar, but yet so different. And they show so many different stitches in here. And then they show some edges in here. And so many different techniques and stuff. So anytime you get stuck, you can just go looking through here and see if you can find it. I think back here is where we get into some of the embellishments and stuff. And this is where you're choosing your colors and some ideas on that. I love working with colors. The more colors, the better. I like bright and cheery colors. Let's see, there's adding beads into it. I love putting beads in. I love when they take the socks and they put the beads up on the top of the socks. I used to think that was just for children, but now I know it's just for anybody. This is something I've yet to do. I think it's called a hairpin or something like that. And this is adding decorative stitches onto things, which I think is really beautiful. Our Stacy, think her name is Whitner or Whitman. She does some beautiful stuff where she adds stitches onto paper and such. Beautiful, beautiful work she does. And it shows you how to to put the stitches together with other things. And there's a tassel. And that's adding some more things together. Sewing things on. Putting flowers together. Let's see. And that's making some appliques. And that's sewing things together. And there you're crocheting it together. And there's making a little purse. And back here, you're putting your granny squares together. Granny squares have always been quite popular. And they still are today. And that shows you how to troubleshoot. Some more troubleshooting. And then acknowledgements back here where things came from. And there's the back of the book. And there's the very, very back. Show some things that you can find and do from being inside. And let's see. When was this originally? I know it's an old book. I think it's in the 80s. Let's see if we can find out when it was. Step by step. And it was by Jane Crowfoot. Let's see if we can find a date in here. I have a headache today, and reading this small writing is not really working. Not for me anyways. Let's see here. Copyright. See if I can make it bigger so I can read it. 2010. Not that old at all. I remember that it had a sticker on it right here, and it had said 5 cents. So, I think it might be one of the things that Jennifer Travers from Creative Play Every Day might have bought for me. But it's a great book. I highly recommend it. Gives you a lot of great ideas and things to do. And if you stay till the end of my flip through, I appreciate it. And if you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing my Crochet Bible, please like, subscribe,